You know, for a little while now, I felt like I used to bring something to the show, and it just hasn't been, showing up lately. And I'm going to do my best to make sure that that happens today, guys. Good morning to you, and welcome back to today's JRPG Weekly Update. I am SuperDerek, and this has been an interesting week. A great week for fans of Falcom, and a bit of a rough one for fans of the Tales series, and we're going to talk about that here in just a few moments. But first, let's start with a few new games that were announced. Shiren the Wanderer, Towers of Fortune, and the Dice of Fate is coming to Nintendo Switch and Steam sometime this 2020, sometime this year, which is really great. This game, based on the trailer, I actually never saw it before, but apparently this had been released on PlayStation Vita a while back, and it looks kind of interesting. It's a dungeon crawler, a roguelike, and a very, very cool looking pixel art style behind it. Looks very classic Super Nintendo style. I kind of dig it, but yeah, it was based on the game released on Vita by the same name, coming to Switch and Steam this year, which is great. The game was made by Spike Chunsoft, who also made the original four or five Dragon Quest games, actually. So I'm pretty excited to see kind of what this is. By the way, if anybody played this on Vita, would you recommend this game? Let me know in the comments below. Also, Square Enix made an announcement of a brand new game this week. It's called Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory, and it is a rhythm-based game that looks truly bizarre, not very RPG-like, and most notably, it looks very much like it's made using assets from the PlayStation 2 game, or maybe the HD remakes. Something about it, I think it's the sound effect that I saw during the video that plays when you get something correct, is very distracting from the music, which is sometimes supposed to be the point of these sorts of rhythm games, you know, is to enjoy the music and also kind of get some interactive gameplay. But it seems like it just kind of, in my opinion, it's just kind of distracting, and maybe they'll fix that. I don't know. Yeah, it's not an RPG, so I also kind of don't care. And I know a lot of you guys think it's Kingdom Hearts, so you also don't really care all that much either. So we'll move on to release date updates. And we did get quite a few release date updates this week to talk about. Trails of Cold Steel 4 did get a release update this week from Falcom and NIS America. Trails of Cold Steel 4 is going to be launching on PlayStation 4 in October 27th this year. Monstrum Nox East 9 is coming to PC, PS4, and Nintendo Switch. And that is something that excites the heck out of me, as you probably could surmise from my reaction video, my announcement video. When it happened, I put out that video that kind of took a little bit of a victory lap. I have to say, I feel like that wasn't necessarily in fine taste, but darn it, you know, when you get poked at for thinking that something is possible, and then people are like, nope, there's no way that's happening. Sometimes when you get vindicated like that, sometimes you gotta take your victories where you can, and sometimes that means taking a victory lap. But unfortunately, we did get also some news about Tales of Arise being delayed. It was supposed to come out sometime in 2020, but producer Yusuke Tomizawa cited COVID-19 as specifically the cause for the delay this year. Previously, the game was slated for sometime 2020, but it has been delayed to an unspecified date, likely 2021. But it's still kind of hard to say. But when we do finally get an actual time window, I will be sure to update you guys. In other news, we got an anime announced for The World Ends With You. Very few details have really been announced, except for the fact that it exists, and that we're probably going to get more information here within the next week or so during the Anime Expo Lite, which is going to be starting on July 3rd. This week, just a few days from now. Also, I guess 'tis the season to be making announcements about anime video game tie-ins, because Cyberpunk 2077 also announced, or rather CD Projekt Red announced, that Cyberpunk 2077 is getting an anime adaptation tie-in that's going to be covering a different set of stories than what's going to be covered in 2077. And of note, this anime is being handled by Studio Trigger. And for fans of Studio Trigger, you already are probably very excited about this. But for those of you who aren't aware, Studio Trigger are the ones behind Gurren Lagann and Kill la Kill. And people are pretty big fans of this studio. I actually haven't watched any of those series from Studio Trigger, so I can't really say that like, oh yeah, this is amazing or anything, but I suspect that the animation style will lend itself well to Cyberpunk 2077. The anime will be coming to Netflix sometime in 2022, which is a year and a half away. I mean, do they really have to announce it this early? Because I feel like, gosh, how long has Cyberpunk been in development? I feel like they announced that back in like early 2013. I could be mistaken. I didn't look this up first, but I mean, this anime is going to be in development for a long while, just like the game was in development for a long while, but hopefully it'll all be worthwhile when it comes out. Also, we got some new information on an a far off but upcoming Kiseki game. Toshihiro Kondo, president of Falcom, was recently in a live stream when he confirmed that the next entry in the Kiseki series is already in development, and a lot of you probably are thinking, of course we already know about Hajimare no Kiseki, except he's talking about the one after that. And he's stated that it's not going to be Hajimare no Kiseki 2, it's going to be some other game. So I guess we'll just have to see what happens as more details develop on that front. I feel like Falcom at this point is just juggling new entries that they're developing. That's my imitation of someone who juggles. You can tell because I don't juggle. Also, we got a new gameplay trailer from the creators of Sea of Stars. That's that indie RPG that you just recently got Yasunori Mitsuda working on some of the soundtrack to the game. It looks really awesome. The gameplay trailer looks pretty sweet. And yeah, I'm going to put links to that in the description down below for you to enjoy in full. And also, we got some an announcement of some upcoming announcements from Square Enix. At this point, I've been doing RPG news updates for like 2 years or something like that now, and the fact that I'm getting announcements of announcements of announcements it doesn't even faze me anymore, really. But here's what we do know, is that at a stakeholders meeting, Square Enix announced to their stakeholders that they will be revealing the things that they were going to reveal at E3 this year, back in June, that didn't end up happening. Well, now they're going to be releasing them over the course of July and August. Or they said between July and August. I don't think there's anything in between July and August, though. I feel like it kind of goes from July straight into August. There's not really... I'm overanalyzing. So between July 1st and August 31st, we will probably be getting a lot of information about upcoming games, some of which will probably be very exciting. Some of them will probably not be very exciting, but everything that they would normally show off at E3 is going to be showing up here, starting in just a few days. I figured we'd be getting some pretty soon, but now I know that I should schedule a little extra time to work on next week's JRPG weekly update. Or maybe I'll just make some more limit-breaking news updates like I did for East 9 Monstrum Nox. Anyways, we've got also some community news to talk about here. The translation patch for Metal Max 3 for the Nintendo DS was recently released by the team Metal Dreamers. And I'm going to go ahead and link to their site down below where you can get that patch. This looks like a pretty bizarre game. Based on a trailer that I saw of this, it just looks really off the wall in all kinds of good ways. So I don't really know what to think of it. I don't know if I'm going to get a chance to play it because it's on DS and I have no way of capturing DS games yet. Eventually, though, maybe that'll be a thing I can do. But anyways, I'd like to congratulate Metal Dreamers for this immense undertaking that took them over 5 years to do. Fan translations are so... it takes such a dedication, and most of them never see the light of day. Most of them never even get off the ground. So to get to a point of release is a massive accomplishment. So congratulations, guys. And now it's time for this week's JRPG Weekly Forecast, starting off the week with Dungeon of Nailbuck. I don't think I pronounced that correctly at all. Nailbuck. Anyways, The Amulet of Chaos is the subtitle there, and it's a Western-style RPG that is a parody of Western RPGs, basically, and it looks... I showed off a trailer a while back. It looks pretty funny. It sounds like it's got a lot of really witty writing to it. Anyways, it's going to PS4 on the 30th. And then also on the July 3rd, we're going to be getting Alphadia Genesis. It's a Kemco RPG that's currently on iOS and PC. It's also on the Wii U, so that kind of dates it a little bit there. And now it's coming to Xbox One on July 3rd. And then also this week, we have Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 3 coming to Nintendo Switch on June 30th, and this is also already available on PC and PS4. But if you've only got a Switch, now you have access to it, so I hope you enjoy. And now it's time for this week's question of the week, and this is kind of going to dovetail a little bit with last week's JRPG limit-breaking news update, in which case I said I called it when it came to East 9, and I'm still super proud of the fact that I did. It feels really good to have predictions that come true, and with Square Enix saying that they're going to be putting out a bunch of new announcements here within the next month or two, my question for you guys is, what are some of your predictions for these announcements? And other people have asked me if I had any other predictions that I'd like to share, so I'll go ahead and use this as my opportunity to do so. I suspect that over the next couple of months, Square Enix is probably going to announce, or at least start to hint at the rumblings of their next entry in the Final Fantasy VII Remake series. You know, part 2 of the Final Fantasy VII Remake. I wouldn't be very surprised if they started showing off some teasers, at least a teaser. I would be shocked if there wasn't a teaser around the corner. Also, probably a teaser for Final Fantasy 16, I think. Now that Final Fantasy 15 and all of its DLCs, that cycle is pretty much finished up. Probably not a full-on trailer, just a little teaser, maybe a title, maybe like a little, I don't know, cutscene that looks beautiful but doesn't really show you any sort of gameplay at all, that sort of thing. And this one's maybe more of like a hope than an actual prediction, but it comes to this Dragon Quest Monsters Joker was kind of announced already and hinted at very vaguely that it would feature Eric and his sister from Dragon Quest 11, and I really want to know where the heck that thing is, and I hope that it's on the way. And that is my predictions for Square Enix's not E3 this year. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Anyways, guys, thanks for hanging out with me. It has been a lot of fun. If anything big happens this week, I will be sure to let you know. But until then, take care. I'm SuperDerek, and this has all been news to me. Have a great week, everyone.